Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tea Time with Meg, the little cozy corner of the internet where we can slow down, pour ourselves something warm, and chat like we're sitting together in the comfiest coffee shop ever. Except you don't have to worry about someone taking your favorite spot, table, booth, wherever you like to sit. I'm so happy to have you here today. As always, before we get started, I have to ask, what are you drinking today? Are you drinking a cup of tea? Are you drinking coffee, energy drink, water, milk, pop? What are you drinking? Now, I have tea today because, it'd be a little awkward if I showed up to the show without that, like an energy drink. No judgment, but, I have tea today. So, anyway, let's get cozy because today we're talking about something I think is very important in our lives, and that's traditions. Real quick announcement before I continue, I will be doing audio podcasts throughout the month, and then the last episode of the month for every month will be a video podcast. I have decided that is the direction that I'm going to take with this podcast, and I'm very excited. If you have questions as to why, just reach out. I have no problem answering those questions, but I don't want to take up too much time, so here we go. When you hear the word tradition, you probably think about Christmas, birthdays, family vacations, and yes, those absolutely count. But I think traditions are also the tiny things we do without really even realizing they've become, traditions. Maybe Friday nights are pizza night, Tuesdays are taco nights. There are so many little traditions that can pop up. Maybe even a road trip starts with someone saying, okay, who's in charge of that music? That I like to control the music because I just am picky about music. So somehow it never ends up being the person who thinks they have the best taste. That'd be me. I don't necessarily have the best taste, but I like music, so I try and be the one to control the music if I'm not driving. I let others control it if I'm not driving, most of the time. Anyway, we'll digress on that, because I'm sure everybody has their own opinions on that, of my family and friends who are listening. Maybe you watch the same movie every fall or Christmas or during the holidays, and it just feels right. Those little routines become part of our lives before you even notice. And there's no right or wrong answer to what your traditions are, because those are your traditions. There's nothing wrong with having your own tradition. And I think that's very important. I think that no matter who you are, having those traditions and being comfortable enough to share those traditions are so important. And they are our routines. We're like, yep, we're going to do this, and this on this day because we want to. No one's going to judge you for what your traditions are. They might ask questions because they might just not understand. And if they judge you for your traditions, then don't worry about them. Don't let other people's judgments affect the traditions or whatever it is that you're doing affect you. I'm one to talk. I have a terrible time not letting people's judgments affect me. Is it something I work on every day? Absolutely. But that's okay. But try not to let it affect you too much. So why do we love our traditions? Well, life changes all the time. Jobs change, people move, kids grow up, families grow up and grow together. Not even just growing up. As adults, we grow up, the weather, that changes all the time. And some states, like Michigan, don't know how to make its mind up. One day it's sunny, the next you're wondering if you accidentally skipped ahead to November. Life changes all the time, and you might not ever be prepared for it, but that's okay. So keep in mind that even though things change, some things can stay the same. That's why traditions are so comforting, especially to me. I love my traditions, but they also can be familiar for a lot of people. They might not celebrate, but they can understand that people have traditions, and I'm glad people have traditions. They remind us even that when life feels really chaotic, even a little bit, a lot, any amount of chaos in life can make things feel difficult and hard. So it just reminds us that there are things that we can count on in our life, like these traditions, that we just honestly have to use to keep our sanity going. When it comes to looking back on traditions, some of my favorite memories aren't really that huge. And I'm sure you all have that too. Once in a lifetime moments, yes, those are memories and traditions that are always amazing. Those once in a lifetime opportunities, if you have opportunities to travel, that's huge. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity sometimes, because it might mean that's something you could do every time, like out of the country. So those ones are great. But those memories are ones that, yes, will last forever, but they're not really a tradition, unless you have the funds to go travel every single year to the same place. Now, when it comes to traveling, those are good ones, especially if it's going to a cottage a couple hours away, or going to see family every few months to every year, where it's a big vacation where the whole family gets together. And that's planned every year. Those are amazing. Trust me, I understand that. But pick the smaller moments. Pick the simple ones. Making cookies and decorating them. Maybe watching the same movie every year, as we've talked about before. Maybe those family dinners that you find precious and that you can connect with yourself and connect with your family. I think it's important to do those. Maybe it's visiting your grandparents that you don't get to see every single day, but it's taking those times to go and travel maybe the hour to go see a grandparent, or seeing an auntie or an uncle or cousins or friends. It's those small little visits that are the big memories. When we're kids, we don't really realize those moments becoming memories we hold on to forever. At the time, it's just like, oh yeah, it's another Sunday, we're going to go see a grandparent. But then, as an example, but then as you get older and maybe that grandparent passes away, or they move where you can't go see them, it's important to recall those memories, because you might not have that opportunity again or often. For example, I had grandparents. They have passed away, but they lived about an hour away from most, if not all of my life until they passed away. They lived far enough away where it was, we tried to get up there, every week, every couple weeks, but it was hard because it was farther away. But I will cherish every single memory. Watching golf with my grandpa, pulling the comb out of his pocket, or painting with my grandma. She loved to paint. Or cooking with her, reading memory books and looking at scrapbooks of family, and just visiting with them. It was always such a cherished thing. And they lived out in the country, so, seeing the wildlife with them and learning about all their different experiences through life, that was always such a cherished memory. And I cherish them even more now because I miss them so much, And I think, if my family is listening, they understand those. And I know that, their family misses them so much, and I miss them so much. But we hang on to those traditions of all those different holiday parties and just going to visit and be with them. And I had grandparents that lived closer too. My grandma that I live with is obviously still living, and she's the last grandparent. But having those memories of my grandma and grandpa together, even though, most of them have passed now, it was always such a treasure. It's extraordinary, the memories that we remember when we look back, and it's something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and most people, I think, do. I know not every family is close, and that's okay, but always cherish the happy memories that you do have with them. Making new traditions. One of my favorite things about getting older is realizing we don't just inherit traditions. We get to create our own. And honestly, I love that. Maybe even memories that you create with family or even by yourself. There's nothing wrong with creating a tradition by yourself. Maybe every fall you visit your favorite pumpkin patch or a cider mill or something along those lines. Maybe every birthday you buy yourself one new book. Maybe Sunday mornings are reserved for coffee, a blanket, and absolutely no responsibilities. Well, until at least 10 o'clock a.m. I'm kidding. I don't wake up at 10 o'clock on a weekend. I wake up when my body tells me I can wake up. So the point behind that, though, is it's okay to have traditions like that, as small as they are. I fully support that tradition, by the way, of being relaxed and hanging out. But any tradition, no matter what it is, as long as you're happy and you're facing your day every day and knowing that you have these traditions that you can look forward to, it's awesome. If it makes you happy and you do it again next year, congratulations. The best part, there isn't rules. It doesn't have to be a specific thing to have a tradition. You can accidentally create it. And that's amazing too. So tiny traditions matter too. Sometimes the smallest traditions become the most meaningful. Lighting a candle before reading, watching a thunderstorm from the porch. If it's right on top of you, maybe not stand out on your porch when it's raining, lightning, thundering. Just a little safety tidbit there. I'm one of those people that yell at people who go stand out on their porches and watch thunderstorms right on top of them. So keep that in mind. Just be safe about it. If you do that, there's nothing wrong with that tradition. But I'm just a scaredy cat when it comes to storms. So we'll just leave that there. Stopping for coffee after accomplishing something difficult, that's always a great thing to do because you're rewarding yourself. Buying yourself flowers just because. If you like some flowers and you're like, oh, that would look amazing on my table. Great. Fantastic. Do it. Make that your tradition. Those little moments may not seem important today, but years from now, they'll probably be the ones that make you smile. And I'm happy with that. I want to be able to smile. I want to be able to create those lovely moments. And that's okay. All right. Next, I want to chat with you all. I want to know, what's one tradition you'll never give up? I think that for me, that will be just overall watching those Christmas movies, those holiday movies, same time every year or as close as we can get to it. And, a newer tradition that my family started is Christmas crackers. Over in the UK, they do Christmas crackers, and they have like a joke and some trinkets and stuff in there. And it is fun. I absolutely love that tradition, and we do it every Christmas now. Maybe it's something your family's never done, just like the Christmas cracker with my family. That's something that we've started doing more recently, and we're happy. It's awesome. I think my mom and I are more into it than my grandma and my dad, but it's still fun no matter who you are. It can be completely random. Maybe your family argues over the rules of a Monopoly game, or aggravation, or sorry, or Yahtzee. There's so many things that your family can argue over, and you'll never have bad blood over that. Okay, you might. Don't get me wrong. Some families take gaming way too seriously when it comes to board games. And then again, there's nothing wrong with that. But remember, you still love each other. And it's okay to have a little hate during a game, but don't hate each other after, okay? Honestly, I think that's a tradition within itself. Families getting angry during board games or any kind of game night. Whatever it is, I love for you to share it with me. I generally love hearing people's stories. All right, tea break. Taking a sip now. Here's today's fun question. If you could create your own holiday, this could be interesting. What would it celebrate? I think the one thing to go along with just the theme of this podcast, cozy, comfy, happy, I think mine would be just National Cozy Day. And I'm sure there's probably one that exists. Don't get me wrong. No work, no errands, no pressure to be productive, just books, games, warm drinks, comfy blankets. If it's too hot, you don't need a blanket. You can just cuddle up in your bed or on a couch and just hang out. Hug a cooling pillow, I guess, or a cooling blanket if you need a blanket. Homemade treats, good movies, and absolutely no guilt for taking a nap. Raise your hand if you love a nap. How many of you just raised your hand? Because I did. So no guilt for that either. Honestly, I celebrate that every year. So just keep in mind, no matter what your tradition is, no matter what what holiday you create, make it cozy, make it fun, make it happy. It doesn't matter what it is, but as long as you're in your own element and you're happy and you're confident, everybody will be happy for you. I think that traditions remind us that life isn't only made up of those big milestones. It's built from the little moments repeated with the people that we love. And sometimes those ordinary moments end up becoming the memories we treasure most. And those memories that we will go back to time and time again. So maybe this week is a good time to start a new tradition. Something small that future you will look back on and smile about. I want to thank you for coming in today and spending part of your day with me. I hope this episode brought some wonderful memories back to you, or maybe even inspired you to create a few new ones. If you enjoyed the conversation today, I'd love for you to follow this podcast, share it with someone that enjoys slowing down and finding those joys in life. Talk about the traditions that I discussed and the traditions that you have with them. Let them listen and then talk together about what traditions you have or what's something that you'd like to create. National Cozy Day. We talked about something like that. Create whatever you want and talk about it with somebody. Talk with a friend. Talk with a counselor. Talk with a family member. Talk with whoever wants to listen or whoever you want to listen. And don't forget to tell me your favorite traditions. Comment down below on the YouTube video. I messed that part up. See? Still human. Just be honest. I don't care what your tradition is. As long as you're happy, I'm happy for you and I will support you. I really honestly cannot wait to read these. And until next time, keep the kettle warm and your heart cozy. Bye.